Hello everyone. We're going to be working on percent problems today and mainly focusing on ratio per 100 using the ratio table that you guys know I'm obsessed about. So the first problem, and I'm using the word problems from our textbook that I've put on this beautiful piece of paper for us. Country music makes up 75% of Landon's music library. If he has downloaded 90 country songs, how many songs does he have in his music library? So we set up our beautiful ratio table, and remember we're always dealing with our 4 by 2. It's fine if you want to just put it together as a 3 by 2 for these purposes, but I'm always going to set up the 4 by 2 because I'm obsessed with it. We're going to be talking about the country music and his country songs in his music library and country music. So country music is going to be my part, and music library will be my whole, okay? So only some of his music library is the country music songs, and the rest of it will be, whatever other variety of songs he has. So now we go with our easy one. If it says 75%, that is the easiest one to fill into our ratio table by putting it over 100, because remember that percent is the same as per 100. Percent is per 100. So when I move on from that, it says the other piece that they're giving me is that he's downloaded 90 country songs. So 90 of these music library songs are country. And since I've labeled my graph here, it's kind of obvious where I'm putting my numbers. If you didn't have a labeled graph like mine, or table, you'd have to look at this and say, okay, is 90 all the songs he has, or are they the country songs? And it clearly says in the story, 90 country songs. How many does he have in his music library, which is our big picture item? So going back to this, what I have is my percent, I have my part, and I'm looking for the whole. So this is the piece that I'm missing. So I need to figure out how to get to that piece from the 100%, because when I'm talking about 100%, I'm talking about his entire music library. So going from 75 to 90 isn't perfect. We need our middleman. So using my middleman, I'm going to choose a number that is either a factor or a multiple of both 75 and 90. So instantly my head is going to either 15 or 5. Either one would be fine. So I'm going to use 5 because I think that's the more common one that you guys would know. To get from 75 to 5, you can do your little math off to the side. It's going to be 15. And so it's divided by 15 because I'm going from big to small. That means I'm going to divide. Well, doesn't this just not work out awesome? I'm going to have to divide by 15. So 100 divided by 15, and that's not going to work perfectly. So at this point, I stop myself and I say, okay, I can keep going. I 100% can keep going with this, but it's not the prettiest picture here, and I'm going to have a decimal answer, which is always fine. But if you notice, if I change this over and I decide, let's make my middleman something easier, how about we make my middleman 15, and I know that 15 would be nicer because I'm going to divide by 5. Then when I do the top, I do the bottom, and doesn't that look prettier now? 100 divided by 5. We won't always have that option, but when we do know that there's other options, because I started this by saying my middleman could be 15, it could be 5. 15 worked out better because then I'm dividing by 5, and I can get a nice pretty number. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, ugh, let's rewind. But sometimes we're going to have to deal with decimals, and that's just life. So now, going from 15 to get to 90, I have to figure out how many times does 15 go into 90. And if you think about 15 plus 15 is 30 times 3, it's going to be times 6. And that's just my mental math work. So times 6, and this is 120. So my answer is 120 songs in my music library, or his music library. All right. So it took me 4 to 5 minutes here to just explain this piece I do have more examples I'm going to go over, but if you understand at this point, you of course can stop watching the video and move on. But I'm going to go to another question, which is number 2 on my list. So number 2 says, Peyton spent 60% of her money to buy a new television. If the television cost $300, how much money did she have? So coming back to my beautiful ratio problem, because you know I'm all about it, I'm going to say, all right, my 4 squares, what are my labels? Because remember, if I can label, then it's kind of going to be easier to plug my numbers in. So Peyton spent 60% of her money to buy a new TV. So I know TV is one of them, okay? And then it says, if the TV cost $300, how much money did she have left? That means she had more money, right? She didn't just have the $300 for the TV, she had more money. So total money is my other piece. And what I had to figure out was, is this the whole or is this the part? And what we should be finding out is that using our just processing capabilities of common sense, if she spent 60% of her money on a TV, she had more money. So this is the part, and this is going to be the whole that's missing. So I come back over here, and I'm going to use the TV to total money. You know, I'm all about abbreviating as much as possible. I always start with my percent because those are the easiest numbers to plug in. So if 60% is my number, then I'm going to put in my 60%. And remember that we can put it here or we can put it in the first column. It doesn't matter. I don't know, I just keep jumping to the last column for it because that's the way I roll. So 60% is 60 per 100, percent per 100. And so I've got my 1 column filled in. I need one more number. That other number that I need is the 300. Of course, the 300 was for the TV. So I come over here and I say, oh, there's the 300 for my TV. The piece I don't know is how much total money I have. So now I say to myself, can I go from 60 to get to 300? It's a wonderful day because I don't need a middleman. So I'm going to go straight from 60 to get to 300. And if you don't know what that number would be, you can just do your division off to the side. 300 divided by 60, we can figure out that it would be 60 goes into 3 0 times, it goes into 30 0 times, it goes into 300 5 times. Sometimes people make a mistake and say that's times 50, but it's not. It was times 5. If you do that little math off to the side, you won't make a silly mistake. So times 5 times 5, and we've got 500. So the answer to the question is, because it's saying how much money does she have, I would say she had $500. Okay, or $500 before buying the TV, however you want to set up the problem. All right, so that's 2 examples. We're now into 8 minutes of the video. Again, if you're starting to get it, starting to click, you're understanding that labels help, you're understanding how to go from one ratio to the other, because remember, these are equivalent ratios. So we're just multiplying or dividing the top and bottom by the same number to go from one piece to the other, because they're saying that 60% is $300 out of $500. So they're equivalent ratios. I don't know why okay. All right. So we're going to stop there. We're doing these examples in class. Hopefully that's helpful. And we're going to go from there. So I will see you guys in school. Bye.